Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our event. Please make yourselves comfortable in our room. We're going to ask just for a minute or two. We've got a couple of people that are waiting to get into the room. So as I said, please make yourself comfortable, and we should be starting at about 2 or 3 minutes past 8. So we will kick off in due course.
You need to put a bit of music there.
Elevator music.
Yes, exactly. That was what I was waiting for. So time also for everybody to send a little message saying, hello, Julia. Hi, Barry. Oh, lots of hellos. Roger, Chloe, Dean, Lex.
We're at 64 people now.
Caroline, Sophie, Bridget.
Maybe we should kick off.
I'm just doing a very quick check, and then I'm going to confirm. Maybe another quick minute, and then yes, ready, rock steady. Still people making their way into the room. All right. Okay. I think we're ready to roll.
Cool.
I will.
You're going to start with the video? Or?
I am.
Cool.
Let's go.
They say, oh my God, I see the way you shine. Take your hand, my dear, and place them both in mine. You know you stopped me dead while I was passing by. And now I beg to see you dance just one more time. Ooh, I see you every time.
Yes, it's almost been a year since our last webinar.
Yes.
Angela.
So hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to our FR1 webinar. So this webinar specifically is for all of our distributors in Asia, Australia and New Zealand and anywhere kind of in between. A lot of people from Brew and Belgium too. So thanks for joining us and welcome to the session. So as Olivier just pointed out, it has been a whole year since our last FR1 webinar. And actually that video you just saw kind of flashing up showed Olivier's year on his balcony. So he has a beautiful backdrop behind him and he's been saving photos of each day to show all the changing seasons. So it just shows how much time has passed. So in this webinar, we are going to share what we've learned in the last 12 months with you. So in March 2020, we were all kind of thrown into this weird situation where we had to work from home suddenly and couldn't travel to see each other, to meet with each other. So we really had to adopt a new way of working. We had to meet in a digital format rather than a physical format. And it really forced us, it really accelerated our adoption of all of our digital tools that we have at our fingertips, that we're so lucky to have at Brew and with our partners. And as distributors, we're really lucky to have all of these tools. So what we wanted to show you was how to use these tools, how we've learned how to best use these tools, and also to kind of explain that we really believe that going forward in the future, now that things are starting to open up, especially over here, movement starting to happen, maybe not in Asia yet, but it will happen as vaccines get rolled out too. when we do meet with people, we're actually going to adopt more of a hybrid sales model. So we're still going to take these digital formats with us because we just see the strength of them and mix them with the more traditional sales model as well. So that's really what we want to explain to you today. So before we get into all of that, I want to introduce our wonderful presenters. So the first one, Olivier, our Italian-based Frenchman who really doesn't, I don't really need to introduce him at all. I think you all know him very well. He is Mr. FR1. He's so passionate, and that passion comes through in everything he does. So hello, Olivier, good morning.
Good morning to you, and hello to everybody.
Yeah. And second person, I think you all know as well, looking at our guests, it's Kiri, and she's a really strong member of our marketing team. She is our content production lead, and she's actually just completed some amazing study at Cambridge University about sustainability. So we're really lucky to have her on our team, and she's going to talk us through more of the sustainable Forever Company side of things as well. So hi, Kiri.
Good morning, everybody.
Okay. Cool. So just some housekeeping. Kiri's also already posted in the chat kind of what, just if we've got questions or that we're going to have polls as well. I think everyone's quite used to using Livestorm now. So just you can say hello in the chat, which everyone has done. Any questions, please post them in the questions section and we will try and answer these. If we don't get to answer them in the session, we'll get back to you directly. And then we will be holding a few polls. So please make sure that you put your answer in the polls tab. You have to click on polls at the top so that we can count your vote. All right. So we're going to start with a poll just to get warmed up. So some of you might know, some of you might not. But Olivier, obviously, because he hasn't been able to travel to see you all, he's had a lot of spare time on his hands. So we wanted to know from you, what do you think he's been doing with that spare time? So there's 3 options that you can choose from. And is the poll live? Yes, it is. So the first answer is that he's volunteered as a firefighter for his local fire brigade. He's got his fire boots there. The second option is that he has volunteered as an ambulance first responder, so paramedic kind of role. Or the third option, which is also quite a good one, is that he started his own knitwear line. So he was so bored in lockdown that he took up knitting like thousands of other people in lockdown and decided to finally put together his own menswear line in FR1 Orange, of course. Okay, so I'm going to vote as well. And we'll see what the results are. So, quite high on the knitwear line this time. So 46% think he's been working for the as an ambulance first responder. 41% thinks he's started his own knitwear line. And about just over 10% think he's volunteered as a firefighter, maybe trying to lobby for FR1 or something like that. So, Olivier, what have you been doing with your spare time?
First responder, my little unit is just down the road, 2 kilometers from here. And I initially entered the service as an ambulance driver with the passion, as you said, to get there as quickly as possible. So it's not fast and furious, but it's fast and safe. And lately, I've discovered another angle of the how could I say, the mission, if I could call it this way, being the first one to come into contact with the patient and start understanding what happened and bring help as quickly as possible. So a much closer contact with people and an amazing, how could I say, human experience.
Mm-hmm. And it's also very convenient that the uniform is bright orange too, so on brand there. But yeah, Olivier, we're really proud of you, and I think it's awesome that you've done that. I think everyone is, yeah. All right, so now to the serious stuff. We're going to discuss 4 main topics today. The first one, we're going to just tell you a bit about how we've had to reinvent the sales meeting, and Olivier is going to share some tips and tricks on that. The second is we're going to run through all of the amazing digital tools and assets and support that we have for you and that you have at your fingertips. And then in the third place, we're going to just touch on sampling briefly and just also reiterate that that's still very valid. And then finally, Kiri is going to walk us through our first steps in our strategy towards becoming a forever company. Okay, so Olivier, we really want to hear from you because personally I've been really inspired by the way you've just adopted this new way of working so well, and you've put as much energy and passion into the digital meetings as much as the physical meetings. So please share with us your top kind of tips as to how to best have a virtual meeting.
Well, virtual meeting is all about communication skills that you already have because of your contact with your customer. These ones are new, and obviously we have to get acquainted with them. We have to nurture them and develop them. And there are quite a few tips to have in terms of making sure that you know your platform. So from time to time, your customers will bring you to a different environment than the one you know. So whether you go on Zoom, Livestorm, or Teams, and there are so many. We've been lately to a virtual exhibition, and there again, they had a totally different platform. So we were both surprised when we did the test with my colleague to discover that she was in her kitchen and I was in my bunker. So the background was not there anymore, the filter. So I mean, right now I don't have this problem because I am live with the open scene. But sometimes you want to hide things and you want to make sure that all your setup is correctly in place. So that's the first element there, a peaceful surrounding and the capacity to really engage your customer as if, or the person you're talking to as if you had the person in front of you. So fixing the camera, looking at the camera, and not checking your mails whilst the other person is talking. And focus. I mean, we've been with Gemma to a meeting where our supplier had his camera set this way, and it was quite difficult to keep, how could I say, attention to the meeting itself. So the other very important point as we are in the conversation is the capacity also to pause, enabling the other person to react, to ask a question, and to keep this exchange going.
Mm-hmm. And I think that pausing one's really important. I need to remember to do that more as well. But I think, Olivier, something that you've said consistently throughout the year is that it's amazing to do these kind of virtual meetings because you're getting all of the daily business done quite consistently through the year. So everyone's pretty much up to date on all the new information and things like that. And then when we do get to travel and see each other and be with each other, that time can be real quality time. So we build more the relationship and the connections, which is so important in our industry. So that's going to be really exciting.
And we have engaged new customers. One could think this is quite easy when you know the person, because obviously the contact is there, you've met before, and the capacity to interact using this online methods is much easier. But we have, even at 1 o'clock in the morning, we have been able to make meetings in Australia. And we have met some new people we never met before. So the acceptance of this new media or the new form of communication is with us already. So again, like you said, Gemma, a very useful tool to make sure that the basic information is flowing through and our customers or our contacts are aware of what we do and the products that we are presenting.
Mm-hmm. And also it has a beautiful sustainability element to it because, of course, we're not traveling all over the world in our cars or on planes or whatever. So we're helping the environment as well. So it's very good. All right. So on to the next poll, actually. We want to know from you, and I think a lot of people have been holding virtual meetings, but we want to know how many of you have been holding a virtual meeting in the last 12 months. So we're just going to see how the votes come in. Put your answer in the poll section. So far, it looks like everyone has had, most people have been holding virtual meetings. About 10% of you haven't yet. So we hope that by the end of this seminar, you will feel inspired to have some virtual meetings, just to have that consistent and quick contact with people. I find it's so easy just to jump on a call. I think even if you're in the same city, sometimes just jump on a virtual call and see each other's faces and chat over, clarify some points as well. I've found it amazing. I can't believe we didn't do it before. Okay.
And also, it's also a great way to, especially when you are on a complex subject. Last night,
Exactly.
I was talking to our lab in Michigan about the Federal Aviation Standard, and it was so easy. In 5 minutes, we cleared the matter.
Yeah, it is. So true. All right, so now we're going to run through all of the digital tools and support elements that we have. And I'm sure you're all very aware of this, but we wanted to kind of bring everything together so that you get a good overview of what we have and how you can use them all. So the first one you may or may not have seen yet. It's quite basic actually, but what we've personally found very helpful at our company is to have kind of a master template of slides that you use when you're showing someone a fabric in a virtual sales meeting. So ideally your customer will have a sample of the fabric in front of them and they can follow visually on the screen. You can guide them through the fabric, so you can show all of the visualizations of these, the close-ups, the room scenes, everything, so they can really get the full experience. You can also use the template to highlight some key unique selling points. So whether it's the certifications that they pass, or I don't know, the washability or things like that. So the really important points you want to highlight. So, and the thing to remember too is that people learn in different ways. So it's good to have all of these mediums showing, whether they're people who like to learn by reading or hearing or seeing or touching. So it's actually really important to show this visually as well. So even if you are there in a physical sales meeting, it might still be good to have some visual aids on your screen. So that's really what we want to show with this one.
It's my favorite at the moment. I find the format very useful. It's compact. You're showing 3 pages. You have a focus on the fabric that shows you the texture. You have the standard. You have how many SKUs, the quality, the performance, and within 3 pages you have the story of Restore. Then the other interesting point, it is placed on the PowerPoint, so you can build up as you wish different collections together for a very specific presentation to your customer. So a great way to present, but also a great way to tease and engage and say, what about this in a mail format?
Yeah, it is. Cool. All right. So just to link on from that, obviously the Twin Brew portal is an amazing machine behind this that you can use to pull out all of that content so easily. So the Twin Brew portal, of course, has all of our visualizations, whether it's the beautiful room scenes that really immerse you in a new environment, or whether it's all the models and the furniture models and curtain models showing each fabric rendered to show how it will really look in reality. And then, of course, you've got all of your technical information, all of the colors, you've got the stock availability and marketing support material there too, just all at your fingertips. And another really exciting note to take note of is the fact that we are currently revamping Twin Brew portal, and you'll see a new version come out later this year, I think. And it's going to have some amazing features too. So keep an eye out for that. It's really exciting.
It's the 3-dimensionality of this of Twin Brew, which is interesting, because suddenly we're not longer talking about just a flat fabric or a flat environment. This time we are in 3D, where you can see a room shot, and it's a great conversation, or at least it's a great way to start a conversation, because it leads to what about your furniture? What about your space? How can we help you? Mm-hmm. So taking the conversation and taking the subject of beyond just having the fabric, what can we do to help you to make your life easier?
Exactly. Cool. All right. So I've just had a question from Jana at Zapal asking just about the previous slide. Will the PowerPoint be available? And yes, we will make this available straight after this session. So thanks for your question, Jana. I'm just replying to you as well. Okay. So another really amazing platform that we want to talk you through today is Swatchbook. So I think everyone knows what Swatchbook is, but just to make sure everyone's up to speed, we're going to show you a quick demo movie to remind you how cool it is. Okay, so that was Swatchbook. We hope you've all been using it and at least tried it out. So we really want to run through the main benefits that we see Swatchbook as giving us. So it really helps us to share digital fabric, so the virtual fabric, very quickly and conveniently with customers. And it also allows us to share a wide range of different fabrics. So a customer might be looking for something in particular or a particular set of fabrics for a particular project. We can actually send them a whole lot and they can very quickly narrow down their selection to really what they want to see and what they want to focus on. So it's just got that speed element to it, which is fantastic. But then what that gives us is a sustainability element, because of course we're not sending a whole lot of samples over, or they're not coming to see a whole lot of samples. We're saving on transport and then also reducing any unnecessary sampling that we would have to send. So they might just narrow down their selection to a couple of fabrics, and we might send, I don't know, maybe we send a book, maybe we just send a memo or a small cutting. So we can really cut down on that and optimize, which is fantastic, because there's a lot of waste, I'm sure, that happens. Then the third point we want to clarify is that it's highly professional. So all of the virtual fabrics are high quality and in the file formats that the designers and architects are using for their designs. So it's compatible with all of their software, so they can quickly use that and integrate it in their design scheme from the very beginning of the project. So it's going to be amazing to have our FR1 fabrics there from the very start, and we've just got to make sure they stay there until the end of that project, of course. But that's really exciting and powerful. And then finally, it's very future-proof. So Swatchbook is evolving and improving all the time. It's always being developed. And I think what's important to remember is that the young generation, or the generation even that's out working now of architects and designers, they really want to work digitally. They want digital materials. They want to see things virtually first. Sometimes they might not even need to see the real fabric, or maybe just at the very end to kind of sign it off and say, yes, that's right, Everyone's so used to buying and sourcing and seeing things virtually now that there is no barrier for them. So we really believe that this is going to be a very strong sales method going forward. So the more used we are to using these kind of platforms, the better for us, because we're going to be able to go into the future with them. We need to keep our industry up to speed with them. So that's really what we had to say.
Totally right, Gemma, because we had the example in Budapest, a brand new architectural studio, and the first requirement to bring suppliers in, do you have digital materials? So they started with that point. They said that they will not accept. So you can see the shift of the little cuttings that was the validation initially to create the board to the same little cutting now. I'll put it on the other side. That is the end validation, the end of the process, because everything has been done digitally. This is just to make sure that it is really the quality you want, knowing that the customers always expect the best out of us. And what is also very interesting, and I don't know if you noticed that on the Swatchbook lately, the change of visual and the appearance of real cuttings instead of the ball, the real cuttings signifying that we have changed the format to even a higher definition format, which is the AXF format, which is easily rendered, which can be rendered very easily on SketchUp and 3ds Max and all kind of platform. So downloadable file, and which is straight away easy access for the designers to use. So a formidable format. And as Gemma mentioned, a format that is going also to bring us to the next level, or at least the next subject matter, something a lot more green.
Exactly. Okay, and actually, if you've noticed on Swatchbook, we have a link to some collection movies. So we've actually started, this is a project that started in lockdown as well. We've been producing mini kind of collection movies to explain each collection to our customers, and we've found them really useful from a training point of view. So we're going to show you this movie just to show you what we're talking about first, and then I'll explain how it's important.
FR1 Fast Track is your go-to collection where you have an emergency, the last-minute order, the supplier that is not delivering, all this kind of like crisis situation where you need fabric and a lot of fabric straight away.
So that was our FR1 Fast Track trailer movie. We've got a longer version, of course, which is the full version, which goes into all the details, all the selling points of each collection. So yeah, it's just basically awesome for training. If you have a look on YouTube, on the FR1 YouTube channel and on the FR1 website and Swatchbook, you can see these collection movies, and it's a really powerful training tool. So as salespeople out there in the market, if you learn these movies, if you kind of get some tips and tricks of Olivier and try and imitate him a bit, then really 99% of your sales job is done. So we're looking for a lot of Olivier impersonators out there because he is so great at kind of romancing fabric and selling that. So
yeah, you just need a stripy t-shirt and a baguette.
Exactly.
No, the idea is really much to share with you the what we had in mind when we created a collection, or what we had in mind when we made that design, and to share this valuable experience as if we were in front of you presenting. And you will see that you may find some tricks and tips in those presentations, and a very interesting format as well to have. So the trailer is definitely more aimed at your customer, but the long version, which is really going through the process, is going to really give you the essence of the collection itself.
Exactly. All right, so we're also going to run you through our fact sheets, which I think everyone's seen. We've been sharing these quite a lot, and Kiri's going to explain how important these are.
Yeah, these are also a fabulous piece of support material for you too. So they would work in parallel, together with the videos, together with website, together with the Twin Brew content. And really how we've tried to script and write these is very much based on a story told experience. So we've had a look at the FR1 introduction brochure that of course focuses on very specifically key USPs, IMO, what makes FR1 FR1. We have 2 collection brochures at the moment, so Optimum and Reinvent. And then 3 very specific USP and educational based fact sheets, Fast Track, the Eco Standards and IMO as well, which again endorse very key messages that we want to get across to the market. Naturally, Fast Track being the collection that is available as per the video for a quick turnaround, quick availability and quick delivery. Our eco standards, that really does the education left to right. What makes our eco standards the eco standards, and what have we selected and why are they important? So Architects, GRS, ISO 14001, plus all their descriptions as well. And then naturally IMO, which in its own right really does require quite a bit of reading and education as to why this standard is so imperative in our market as well. So I hope you're using these. These are also available on the Twin Brew portal, and that's also across our marketing portal for everybody too, fully accessible and ready to use, plug and play stuff.
And they are packed of information. So don't overestimate the strengths of this support fact sheets. They can also be individually or broken down into pieces as well. So this way you can atomize the content and repeat all the important information one by one. There is a lot to take here, and obviously I think it will be how could I say, difficult to believe that a customer in one go will understand all the diversity of facts and all the things that we do for them to make sure that our products are meeting all the standards.
Absolutely. If we take that as the thread, then our blogs and social media, again, something you would have been or you would have seen very active on Aprimo, on our Twin Brew portal, etc., making that available. Our content distribution, our content strategy is very much hinged on our blogs. So having a look at a very thematic story that we want to tell again around FR1, key points of interest, key educational areas, key things that we feel the market is asking for, things like eco standards and GRS, and then turning that into, as I said, blogs that really do make sense. When it comes to drilling down the blogs, that's where we have the representation across our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, etc., and then FR1 mailers. You will see that our current mailer frequency for FR1 is at least once a month, and there again, pushing content that we have predetermined based on very specific blog themes and what we're seeing the market doing. The webinar series, what you're sitting in today, and hopefully what will carry on over a period of time, focusing on key things that we feel we can bring to the market that is of interest, things we want you, our distributors, our partners to know and share, and things, of course, that we can share with our, customers of customers going forward.
And we will do exactly the same with the webinar. We can atomize the webinar, create some workshop, and to answer your questions, and maybe sometimes you want to know a more practical answer to specific questions that you have. So let's organize more workshop together so we can share our experience and get this flow of information much more fluid. The other exciting point in this content distribution is also a mean to help you to create your editorial planning, to make sure that we are in phase, synchronized, and eating the markets in the same direction.
Alrighty. Oh, sorry. Jim, you drive.
Okay, all right. So our third point we wanted to discuss today was sampling. So we're talking all about these digital things and virtual this and virtual that, but what we do want to say is that sampling still has a place. We're not throwing it away. It is still important because, of course, we have traditional customers as well who still like to use the sampling. And as I said, we still need that maybe that final touch point at the end of the process as well. So closing the sale with a sample still. So
yes, it's part of your ecosystem. You have people moving at different speeds. You have traditional customers who are going to be more, how could I say, seduced by the touch and feel, looking at the hangers, looking at the books. So those formats are still with us. There is, and you've probably seen that in the big cities, and also because of the fact that designers are still working from home. I think this, I can't say trend, but this particular way of working is going to stay. People will stay at home. And the difficulty, again, we are working with a category of customers who are very difficult to contact. And now it's even more difficult because they're not even going to the studio anymore. So finding ways to keep our visibility, finding ways to keep the presence of our products on their desk or on the corner of their bookshelf is also something very important. So one way, and I think the star of this season in terms of sample placement has been the reinvent files. So a huge support tool, huge because as you can see here, we have 595 SKUs, all fabric, so there is no photos. So an ideal tool because here you have a little library, compact little library in front of you for a more classic approach to the specification. But at least here, what's very also important, it is real product. And the cuttings, which is still going to be the very useful items to make validation and to ensure that the customer is happy with the quality that they have selected. So you can see it's an engagement where you have to define the profile of your customer. You have to understand their type, the type of format they are happier to respond. Sometimes they respond to mails, sometimes they respond to videos. So it's changing, adapting, and creating the occasion and the how could I say, the novelty that will make someone click or someone say, oh yes, I want to see you, and maybe I want to see you online.
Exactly. Yep, that's awesome. So I think we're ready to move on to our next section. So,
yes, I think we know what it is. Huh?
We do. We had a little preview there. So take it away, Kerry.
You and I got a bit clicker happy there.
Sorry.
No. Awesome. So this section, I'm hoping most of you would have received the brochure that has been in circulation via email around Brew's ambitions and, of course, our target and our positioning around a forever company. I think what is important is a little further context around that. So Brew, as we know, a company and a culture so filled with heads on, hands on, hearts on, curiosity, being a brew, values that really inspire us tremendously. And I think sustainability is something that the world is really focusing on and speaking about. It feels like it's more of a trend at the moment, but actually when you look at it, I do feel in some ways Brew's always understood its responsibility. We've always understood that the industry within which we play is not the greatest when it comes to carbon contributions, when it comes to waste, when it comes to water pollution, when it comes to fair labor practices. Of course, that's the extension to the mills, but it is something that we have to focus on and we have to do. I think the other thing that's important to mention is sustainability is always about the long game. The analogy is like having a child. It's not something you do today and forget tomorrow. It's something that you ingrain. It becomes part of the ethos of who you are, and it becomes your long-lasting contribution to creating not only a forever company, Brew, but a forever planet and a forever society, something that we are positively contributing towards. So when we first started this project and we started looking at what do we have immediate influence over, we started focusing on these 4 very succinct areas. The first, which of course everybody has referenced quite a bit throughout this presentation, is sampling. So digital sampling. How are we changing the way that we distribute and show our fabrics? Digital being a far more carbon friendly and waste friendly alternative to physical sampling. Doesn't necessarily mean that physical sampling is going to change tomorrow. As we said, it still has a relevant place now, but the future view has to be put in place or put onto the horizon as well. The second thing that we've done is we've always had a principle of KESH management, so that's quality, environment, safety, and health. But what has now begun to underpin this even more strongly is our eco standards. What endorsement can we put against our product that the customer receiving it understands that these actually are eco-friendly or eco-considered alternatives? Things like GRS, very specific to FR1. That's the Global Recycled Standard, Reinvent. It was about a percentage of, or in some cases, 100% recycled polyester. OCS, Organic Content Standard, not specific, of course, to FR1, but a standard that sits within that same realm of certification, and they're making sure that the cottons we use, the linens we use, that we put into our production do make up a percentage of organic content. That, of course, takes care of how it's manufactured, waste management, etc. Oeko-Tex, something that we've stood behind for years, ensuring that we're not putting harmful chemicals into the world, or that harmful chemicals can harm people who touch or feel our fabrics. A massive endorser for us, and something we've stood by, as I said, for a very, very long time. And then a couple of others that we've really been looking into. ISO 14001 of late. Are our mills, our producing mills, making sure that how they produce fabrics conforming to a very specific environmental management standard that takes care of water waste management, etc. The third, that is also very much within our control, is our operational impact. So looking at the entire cycle of reduce, reuse, repurpose, recycle where we can in our packaging, the plastic that goes around our rolls, our pallets within our warehouse, and then just talking about the warehouse in case anybody isn't aware, but our operation in Contech is fully 100% solar powered. So that really is something to be quite proud of, and hopefully something that is also within your own operations realms to control as well. Green energy all the way. The fourth aspect has been our rethinking of mobility, and that's very specific to our staff. So currently 25% of our staff are driving electric vehicles with the ambition to roll over to more electric as the years pass by. Of course, nothing happens quickly with sustainability. You have to approach it quite methodically. Reducing our travel and working from home. Thank you, Corona, in some instances for that.
Yeah.
We've had to rescope how we actually go into the office every day, which has a massive carbon impact contribution as well. I'm going to roll us into a poll, a little break before we go into our next little section on this. So the question I'd like to ask you all today, are your customers asking for environmentally friendly fabrics?
And that poll is live, so please put your answer in the poll section. Just have to fill it out myself.
Yeah, very nice seeing the yes number growing exponentially.
Yeah.
We're currently sitting on an 80-20 split, so there's a demand. The market is aware of it. They want it.
And we're going to get more of a demand, I think, as we go along in time. So it's a good sign. We need to do that.
Couldn't agree more. My very last slide on sustainability, I would actually implore you, please, to go back to the brochure that we circulated via email. Take your time, have a read through. I think what has been important is we've understood what we can control and do now in terms of our short-term ambitions. The longer-term plan was actually approaching a key specialist in the market, a company by the name of Futureproofed. They're based here in Belgium. They're sustainability experts, and they've helped us put together a strategic roadmap in terms of our short, medium, and long-term goals around what we want to achieve. It's really quite succinct in terms of their approach, mostly because the strategy is grounded in the SDGs. If you don't know what those are, you can Google and have a look yourself. But basically, it's the UN Sustainability Development Goals. There are 17 of them. They're all interlinked. Yes, it is about picking and choosing the ones that you feel you can have the most impact over. But of course, they all make up a much larger microcosm. They all influence each other. The most important ambition, or SDG, I would say, is SDG 17, and that is about partnership and collaboration. And of course, I'm going to get into that just after the next poll.
That is live as well.
Our very last poll, are you looking into becoming more sustainable? This can be individually, or it can be as a business as well. So if you can just give that a thought and answer.
The forever us.
Yes, there's only one planet, right? No planet B.
No.
Well, that depends who you're speaking to. If you're talking to Elon Musk, yeah, maybe. Or Jeff Bezos for that matter. Okay, I'm so glad there's not one not yet. So that's very good to hear and see.
Yep.
All right, so the final conclusion point really from that entire discussion is really the power of collaboration. As I said, the last SDG, which they added right at the end, is partnership and collaboration. We need to all look at this together as a collective to see what we could be doing better. And that's, of course, in collaboration with our customers, in collaboration with you, our distributors. We're looking forward to seeing your plans. And more importantly, we're looking forward to share our long-term ambitions with you too. Mm-hmm. So watch this space.
Exactly. We're really
Definitely
looking forward to taking each other on this journey, to working together, because we really have a responsibility to our industry and actually to the planet and our future generations. So we really need to do this together. We want to do it with you. So yeah, please keep up the communication with us. And if you want to just get on a call, we're so happy to talk about it with you. So please feel free and open.
I'm sure you will also share the feeling that you've seen this photo, I can't say many years ago, but many years ago. I think that the excitement of working with Brew and being together is the foresightness of what we do. And we often come and like we were talking about earlier, your ecosystem, some people would say, aren't you a bit early to talk about this? No, I think we need to talk about it now. And we need to be driving the market towards sustainability and showing that we have an answer to this problem, and showing that we are active to find a solution as well. So collaboration, as you've seen before, is our drive, and we're all looking forward to being with you, working with you, helping each other to achieve those goals.
Fabulous.
Mm-hmm. We've got one more question from Gary. He's asked if he can have a ride with Olivier in his ambulance. So what do you say, Olivier?
Yes, definitely. We
So
can go for a mission
Italy.
together.
Are you going to pick him up from Belgium?
Well, unless probably Gary has an ambulance, a spare ambulance in his big garage, so maybe we can use his.
Cool. All right. On that note, we're going to say goodbye to all of our lovely people online here. So thank you so much for joining us. We love these things. We love speaking to you. We wish we could see you. And next time we're going to arrange it so that we can. So yes, have a wonderful evening ahead. We're going to get on with our day here. So thank you and bye.
The best. Thank you again.
Thank you for your time. Goodbye,
All right.
everybody.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.